is SWAC? If ain't SWAC, who is SWAC? If ain't SWAC, who is SWAC?
Shout out to Sway the Remix God. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I got some fresh hate today. Y'all should be ready for it. Coach Gene Clemens, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me.
I wake up motivated. I wake up motivated. I wake up motivated. I wake up motivated. I wake up motivated.
If y'all don't know who that is, that's Coach Prime. Shout out to Sway the Remix God one more time. I just wanted to start right there because what we see in our culture, and I'm talking about, you know, Black people, and our culture, especially in this country. I won't speak outside of this country because I honestly don't know. But what I see in this country is that there seems to be this disconnect between advancement and who does the advancing. See, I'm of the mindset that it doesn't matter who does the advancement within our people as long as it gets advanced. The credit never mattered to me. And I guess that's why I don't understand. I guess that's why I just don't understand in our culture why there's always so much hate for those that come in and advance things beyond what we were able to do ourselves. I'm going to use for this example Coach Prime, but it goes far beyond what Coach Prime is doing at Jackson State or what he has done or what he will do for however long he does it. This goes far beyond Coach Prime. This goes far beyond just one man and what he is trying to provide for one university. See, the issue that I have is that when you get somebody like Eddie Robinson Jr. coming out and telling people that Coach Prime is not SWAC, that he, in fact, is SWAC. My initial response is why? What makes him SWAC? What makes him SWAC? What is the reason why he is SWAC and Coach Prime is not SWAC? Is it because he went to a SWAC school? Does that make him SWAC or Coach Prime not SWAC? Is it because he's been coaching at HBCUs for longer than Coach Prime has? Is that why he is SWAC and why Coach Prime is not SWAC? I don't know what would have made him believe that was something to say outside. That was something to say aloud, and people would just be like, oh, okay, I get it. The sad part is that there's some people out there that's going, oh yeah, I get it. Watch this. How can you be mad when you say, hey, we're not getting the proper resources and recognition that we deserve? We need help from people to come in. Then when those people come in to help, you say, oh, that person isn't the reason why this is good. We were good before this. Well, nobody said you weren't good before this, but nobody was paying attention. For whatever you might think of what Coach Prime is, has been, and will do at Jackson State, and what his impact is or will be on HBCUs as a whole, here's what you got to remember. During the pandemic, when Coach Prime took the job, as the Jackson State head coach, Jackson State was not a winning team. Jackson State were not winning a lot of games. And Coach Prime, when he took the job, was ridiculed. He was ridiculed by the predominantly white media. People were saying that it was a publicity stunt, that he would never coach a game. The local newspaper called it a joke, said that he was using Jackson State to further his own ambition. The other SWAC coaches, when he came out and he was normal Prime, braggadocious about what he was going to do and how he was going to do it, the other SWAC coaches told him, hold your horses, homie. We've been doing this for the longest. You're not just going to come in here and just take over. When they beat him in the spring, I believe they lost 2 games. They were 4-2 or 3. I forget what it was, but they did not win the SWAC. I believe that might have been Alabama A&M that year. When they lost, the ridicule was heavy. When Coach Prime congratulated those teams, still went across, handshake and a hug like a normal brothers do when they come together at half court, or when they come together at the 50-yard line, handshake with a hug. He did that. He took those on the chin, and he said, we're going to get it right. He said, we're going to bring in better talent. We're going to upgrade facilities. We're going to bring attention. The next year they went out and lost 1 game in the Celebration Bowl to South Carolina State, where everything went wrong for them and everything went right for South Carolina State. And throughout the year, it was still trepidation. There was still doubt, but they had to give it up because they were winning. And then they lost. And all of a sudden, all of the same people came back out. Oh, Coach Prime is trash. He got out coached by Coach Pugh. He got all this. You know what Prime said? He's right. They're right. We got out coached. We got outplayed. We got beat up in the trenches. We're going to get better. We're going to get this thing right. They came out this year, and their only close win last year was to Florida A&M. They mollywopped Florida A&M. They have destroyed teams, and in the games that have been close, they've never been in question. In the games that have been close, they've never been in question, including this Alabama State game. It was closer. It wasn't a mollywop, but it was never in question. Alabama State was going to lose. Jackson State were going to win. So when they go to the 50-yard line and Coach Prime, whatever's happened throughout the week, right? Here's how I can tell you what Coach Prime is thinking, because it's not about who's SWAC, it's about who's an athlete and who's not, and what athletes do. You can talk all the noise you want. It's very similar to boxing. You talk all the noise you want. You make all the noise you want. You do all the things you want to do. All of the smoke. But the smoke happens on the field. And once the game is over, the smoke is over. So Coach Prime, for whatever happened before the game, leading up to the game, during the game, after the game, as men, he walked to the 50-yard line. He put his hand out for the handshake and tried to come in for the hug, as brothers do. He got met with the Heisman to the chest. He got met with the hand to the chest. Of course, he pushed the arm off, because how dare you put your hand in my chest? To quote a song, "Bitch, I'm me. I'm Prime. I just won. You should have hat in hand. You should be humbled by the fact that your team got outplayed in all phases. But instead, Coach Robinson met with resistance. He met with hate in his heart. It had nothing to do with the game. He was resentful of the fact that Coach Prime has something that he wants, and he's never going to get it. He's never going to get it. Coach Robinson doesn't have the cachet or the charisma to convince a Travis Hunter to come and play football for him. He doesn't have the pedigree of genes to be able to produce a son who's going to be as good as Shedeur Sanders or as Shiloh Sanders to come and play for him. It just is what it is. He doesn't have the connections to be able to go out and get the elite level coaches that Coach Prime has been able to come out and get to come and coach with him. He doesn't have any of those things. So instead of saying, man, it's really awesome what Coach Prime is able to do at Jackson State, I hope that we can do the same. I hope that we can duplicate that model without having to go and get another head coach that has a name. I hope we're able to duplicate that model. I hope we're able to double that up. And now Jackson State and Alabama State be powers, that we both elevate the SWAC. Every time Coach Prime talks about advancing a team to the FBS level, he never talks about taking one team. He always talks about taking the entire conference. So in the end, who cares how long he's at Jackson State? Who cares how long he stays at Jackson State? While he is at Jackson State, he has been all about Jackson State. That's all you can ever ask of any coach. That's all you can ask of any person. If you're a player for a team, listen, I know that you might have aspirations to play for another team, but while you're here, while you wear these colors, while you represent these letters, while you show love for this school, it's got to be all about this school. How has Prime not done that? Why does he have to be labeled as not SWAC? I can tell you what he's going to be labeled as: one of the winningest coaches in SWAC history, because when he leaves there after running off another 11-1, maybe 12-0 season this year, after he does that, after he goes 11-1 or 12-0 this year, Coach Prime is going to be 25. It's going to be 25-5. 25 to the good. 25 times he walked across that football field and shook a hand as the winner, and 5 times when he didn't. And 3 of those are going to have come in the first year that was shortened, that was in the springtime, where they never had a chance to play together, and they were working with COVID restrictions. And it doesn't matter what Eddie Robinson Jr. believes at that time, he's going to have to eat that forever, because I don't know Eddie Robinson Jr.'s record as a head coach. I don't know what it is, but you know what I know it's not? 25-5. You know what I know he doesn't have? SWAC championships. Prime's going to have 2 in essentially 2 real years. If you want to count the spring season, go ahead. Go ahead. Then he's got 2 in 3 years, and that's 2 in the last 2. That's something that they're going to have to deal with. And you know what other teams have done? Other teams have started trying to address it. Other teams have tried to address it, either by going out and getting coaches that have more cachet, right? They've either gone out and got coaches that have more cachet, or they've invested more in their teams. The residuals are already happening. The residuals are already happening. It doesn't have to just be at Jackson State. And we don't have to meet everything with a "you're not really." all of these, it makes me think about the Russell Wilson situation. So many people are so quick to be like, oh, he's not black. He's not black enough. Oh, he's corny. The man has done nothing with his life but spread positivity, encourage, try to be a good person. And every single time, black people are talking about him as if he shouldn't be a part of the culture. If there's only one way someone is going to be a part of the culture, then what type of culture is that? You just want to carbon copies of the same person over and over and over again? What fun is that? Where's the diversity in that? Hey, guess what? You can be black if you're a doctor and a lawyer, the same way that you can be black just by working at the grocery store. Just because you're a hustler, that doesn't make you more black than somebody that works in a business cubicle. Just because you didn't go to a SWAC school doesn't mean that if you're not working for and working to advance the SWAC, that you're not SWAC. Coach Prime has done more in the 3 years or 2.5 years that he's been associated with the SWAC than Eddie Robinson Jr. has done in his entire existence. He's living off a name. You call it what you want to call it. You can call it what you want to call it. He's living off the name, and he's not doing anything to advance the name, except burning bridges and starting fires that don't help anybody do anything. Take your ass whipping like a man. You got beat. Who cares what they did while the whistles were blowing? You don't try to upstage somebody when the cameras are on. You don't try to degrade their name when you're talking about them at the press conference, at the same time trying to big them up and defecate on them at the same time. Everybody knows Coach Prime. Everybody wanted to be Coach Prime when he was a DB, but this is different. This is football. This is coaching. What's different? Everybody still wants to be Prime. You're telling me right now that if Eddie Robinson Jr. had the opportunity to change lives with Coach Prime, not Deion Sanders Prime Time, the DB, the baseball player, but the coach, he wouldn't do it? You're telling me right now, if Alabama came to Eddie Robinson Jr. and offered him a job as the defensive coordinator or the offensive coordinator or the quality control coach, he wouldn't leave Alabama State to go to Alabama? Why wouldn't he? Because that advances the culture. You know what we don't see a lot of? We don't see a lot of HBCU head coaches get PWI jobs. But we're constantly inviting in the people who don't look like us to coach our teams. They use a couple of good wins, a couple of decent seasons, and then they bounce for a PWI job. They bounce for what they believe is a better opportunity. They don't end up lifers. Why would you want anything to ever be stale and stagnant and the same all the time? We really should be rotating through these coaches. Rarely is it a good thing for a coach to be at a school for over double-digit years. Rarely is it good. Rarely is it positive. Most of the time, if you've been at an HBCU for over 10 years and you have not won several championships, you probably should be fired. Not because you're not doing a good job, but because the message hasn't advanced the purpose. You shouldn't be tenured just for the sake of being tenured. And nobody should know that better than Eddie Robinson Jr. Jr. should know that better because he watched his father be dominant in the SWAC for decades. That's how it's done. That's how you get it popping. You don't try to make your name climbing on the back of somebody else while they're trying to make their name. You know what that's called, right? It's called the crabs in the bucket mentality. And it's too much of it in our culture. Latino culture, they big each other up. One person gets up, he starts pulling the other people up with him. East Asian culture, same thing. Indian culture, absolutely. Jewish people, you know it. But when we get to us, it is, how can I push him down so I can get up? Why can't we all get up at the same time? Why can't we all rise together? You know when they say the cream rises to the top, it's not just one cream. It's a bunch of it. We can all go. And the people who aren't ready, guess what? Stay down there. But when you're ready, we got you. When you're ready, we're pulling you up as well. But we don't. And we wonder why our opportunities for advancement don't regularly come. Because the Black people that do make it, a lot of them don't feel the love from the people. There's always a question as to why. You know what? It don't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me. We as Black men and Black women, especially in sports and in cultures where we are public and visible, we have to take the time to reach up together, to reach down together, to help each other advance. That's the way. It shouldn't matter whether you are SWAC or not. It should matter whether or not you're trying to advance the cause. One man is, one man is not. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. You do this thing a few times a week. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. If you're joining me on the YouTube channel, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Till the next time, peace.